Hi, and welcome to the NFPA LiNK YouTube channel. This page is dedicated to answering key questions that you have related to electrical and life safety. With easy-to-use digital access to NFPA codes and standards, NFPA LiNK is your window to productivity. Now today we're going to be talking about NFPA 13, the standard for the installation of sprinkler systems, and more specifically, a new change to the 2025 edition talking about vacuum systems. Let's first open up NFPA 13. I'm going to click here on the 2022 edition since I have that in my favorites. I'll go down to Change Edition and then select the 2025 edition of NFPA 13 and then select Change Edition again. This will open up the 2025 edition of NFPA 13. I'm going to click this star up here to add this to my favorites. And I can see the message in the bottom right confirming that the NFPA 13 2025 edition has been added to my dashboard. In this video, we're going to look at vacuum systems, or as they're sometimes called, negative pressure systems. But keep in mind that NFPA 13 only refers to them as vacuum systems. Now these systems are either dry or pre-action sprinkler systems that contain air under negative gauge pressure. And since air is a compressible fluid, vacuum systems can actually reduce the overall oxygen in the system, and the vacuum pump can remove residual water, such as condensation. And since corrosion occurs when oxygen reacts with a ferrous material, such as your steel or iron pipe, and is accelerated by the presence of water, these vacuum systems should be able to reduce corrosion. Now that we have a basic understanding of vacuum systems, let's take a look at the requirements in NFPA 13. I'm going to go over to the search function and enter in vacuum. Let's see what comes up. Immediately, we can see section 8.11 vacuum systems. Now this is new to the 2025 edition of NFPA 13, as well as the definitions for vacuum dry system and vacuum pre-action system. Keep these definitions in mind if you're curious about the exact terminology. For now, let's go over to 8.11 vacuum systems. In section 8.11, you can see that there are three subsections, one for general, one for vacuum dry pipe, and one for vacuum pre-action. Now these are pretty straightforward requirements, just saying that when you're using these types of systems, you need to comply with these sections as well as manufacturer's instructions and appropriate listings. However, I did mention that vacuum systems can give you a reduction in overall corrosion. Let's go over to the Plans and Calculations chapter to see how this affects our plans and calculations. Let's scroll down to chapter 28. Plans and Calculations. Now here you can see the Hayes and Williams formula for frictional resistance in both imperial and metric units. Now we're going to be looking at C, the friction loss coefficient. Now that it's in the denominator for both of these equations, we understand that the higher the C value, the lower the overall frictional resistance. Keep that in mind as we take a look at section 28.2.4.8.1. Over in section 28.2.4.8.1, we have some requirements for friction loss. Let's take a look at the change indicator from the previous edition. Right away, I can see that there are 14 items in this list in the 2023 edition of NFPA 13, and now there are 16 items. So these two items, items 15 and 16, are new to the 2025 edition of NFPA 13. In particular, the one that relates to what we're talking about is 15. In new systems, an increased C value of 120 shall be permitted where vacuum pressure is provided in accordance with section 8.11, which we just took a look at. Even more, if you go down to table 28.2.4.8.1, you can see a table for C values. Here you can see black steel using vacuum pressure, as well as galvanized steel using vacuum pressure. Both allow a C value of 120. There is also a footnote C. Let's scroll down to see what that says. Vacuum pressure shall be installed in accordance with section 8.11, which we just took a look at. So understanding that this higher C value will allow us to have a lower overall friction loss is a good benefit for using vacuum systems. We hope that provided some insight into the new requirements on vacuum systems for the 2025 edition of NFPA 13. For more information about how NFPA LiNK gives you the knowledge you need to get the job done right, visit nfpa.org/link.